Welcome, one and all, to RLCraft. Now, yes, I'm sure you've all heard of this mod pack by now, as 100 Days series have, once again, like my ARC series, been done to death on this. Now, I love this mod pack, so I couldn't help myself from doing it, especially with my break from ARC. A mod pack filled with dragons, sirens, and giant worms. You seriously think I'm not going to be doing that? And what's even better is I've added a few select mods of my own, mainly Minecraft Comes Alive, Bibliocraft, and Pam's Harvestcraft. I simply added these mods to give this playthrough a little bit of an extra flair to it. I want to be able to do a little bit more than a typical RLCraft run, because I tend to get really bored really easily. Now, before I get started, I wanted to say thank you to both Luke the Notable and Forge Labs for inspiring me to do this series. Luke the Notable, obviously, for his 100 days in Minecraft, leading on to over 1,000 now, and Forge Labs for doing the 100 days in RLCraft. It's where I saw it from originally. So anyway, just sit back, grab a snack, grab a drink, and enjoy the video. So the first thing I did upon spawning in on day one was lock in my difficulty on hard, just in case I got too fed up with the game and was tempted to load it onto peaceful. A short while after spawning in, I found myself a village, actually. Apparently the RLCraft gods decided to throw me a bone early enough on to give me a chance of survival. So naturally I took some resources from there, took the iron tools, and grabbed some food. After departing from the village, I wandered until nightfall, and of course I needed to find somewhere to sleep for the night, and I actually managed to find a small villager house on the shore of a lake, so I boarded up the doorway and slept in there on my bedroll. Day 2 was a little bit more eventful. We found a wrecked battle tower, so of course we went in there and broke the few spawners that were left for XP. Then after a bit more wandering, we actually came across an abandoned castle. I thought there would be some murder birds there, but nah, it was actually pretty empty. After that, we mined some iron and actually found a pirate boat just sort of chilling in a lake. How'd it get there? I don't know. But it did have some spawners in it, so we broke those as well. And by then, of course, we needed to find another place to sleep. So we just sort of held up in a dilapidated old barn, is what it looked like. After wandering a bit more on day 3, I came across yet another village. Upon entering the village, I discovered that it actually had 2 enchanting tables, which, if the events that happened in this video didn't happen, it might have been useful, but it was not. After searching the village a little bit more, I decided to just head off into the mountains because literally everywhere else was just water. After wandering for a bit longer, I may or may not have gotten ganged up on by a few ants. These ants were not normal ants, they were giant, and they ripped me in half pretty much. And that was just the start of things starting to go downhill. From that point on, I was just dying over and over and over again. It wasn't until day 5 that I had begun to make actual progress in finding a base location. And it wasn't until day 6 that I had gotten anywhere close to finding it. This giant canyon was really the only place that I found that led me anywhere of value. And when I say this canyon was giant, I mean giant. I had to have spent at least half an hour just getting through it. But when I got through the canyon, it led me to a house of riches. I thought of basing in the house, but it was too close to the desert for my liking. So I took the loot from the basement and kept moving. Just as I began to run out of daylight, I happened across an old dilapidated house, and of course, I decided to settle in the shitty little broken house. It was already pretty much constructed, I just had to fix it. However, while I was boarding the house up and breaking some of the cobblestone blocks, I got attacked by silverfish. And oh boy, did that kind of impede my plans. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. I don't know what happened exactly, but being killed by that blighted silverfish made me lose all my items, I think, save for the obsidian. That's about it. I think the lightning strike it used to kill me may have disintegrated everything. Either that or I was just blind as a bat and let it despawn. So I'm gonna go with the first option. Day 8 was a day for rebuilding the house. Mind you, we weren't gonna make it look great or anything. It was literally just a day to patch it up and make it safe to live in. So as you can imagine, I used pretty much any materials I could get my hands on. So I essentially built a straight up noob house. on day 8. Random assortments of oak, cobblestone, mossy stone, dirt, and acacia wood and everything. But once you place that door down, it's a home. But before day 8 could end, I built myself a tiny little wheat crop area. I was gonna need food, and farming was one of the least dangerous ways to get it in RLcraft. I spent the most of day 9 just opening the treats I had gotten for the Halloween event. I did get attacked by 2 giant twisted tree ants as a result, but I did get some diamonds out of it, so I guess that was kind of worth it. But before night could fall and I could sleep, the silverfish struck back for me invading their home. Apparently they wanted revenge, and well, they did not get it. After that, it was time to get renovating. I was sick of walking around on a floor made of random blocks, so I dug it up and then I replaced it all with oak planks. After that, I had enough time to go check out a nearby battle tower, actually. But mind you, I wasn't going to do the battle tower, so I just scaled the side of it and broke open chests as I went down. Now, I only went a few levels down because I wanted to get all the materials necessary to craft a clock, since I had lost my other one. I didn't really have any other way of telling the day, so I really needed that clock ASAP. Day 11, I made myself a paxel, which is essentially a axe, pickaxe, shovel, and hoe all in one without durability. Now, to make it, I had to craft an equipment forge and all the stuff that went along with it, but that wasn't really that difficult given the items list that I had to the right. I wanted to get the entire house renovated before day 20, but to do so, I kinda needed stone, and to do that, I decided to make a mine in my house instead of me going out and doing it in the side of a cliff, because RLcraft is scary. So after I dug down and got a stack of stone, I came back up and threw it into the furnace to wait for it to smelt. I wanted chickens, and normally that would just mean to build a square little pen to keep the chickens in. But given the fact that it's RLcraft, I can't do that, because there would be mobs that would actually try and kill your wildlife if you were to do that. So I had to build an enclosed chicken pen. So on day 12, that's exactly what I got started on doing. After the pen was finished, obviously I had to go and find some chickens, so that's what I did. I found a chicken, brought it back to the pen, and locked it in there. And I actually got a baby chick from an egg that I threw in there as well, so I had 2. The rest of the day just consisted of me going and searching through an abandoned castle with some wheat fields, and then figuring out how to make bread dough with said wheat, because the Harvestcraft mod changed pretty much everything. With the arrival of day 13, it meant it was time to start renovating the house. So that is exactly what I did. The process took pretty much 2 days, so I condensed it all down into a tiny little time lapse for you. I do apologize for how twisty and turny it is. This was my first attempt at a proper time lapse, so it's likely that the future time lapses will be a lot better. After getting the majority of the first floor done, I decided to build a roof out of slabs, because I wanted to add a second floor later on down the line. So after the roof was finished, I built a staircase up to the second floor. Day 15 was a slow day. I pretty much just spent it organizing and decorating the first floor of the house. I got a little kitchen area set up though. After that, it was back to working on the second floor. And finally, before we went to bed on day 15, we learned how to make bread dough and how to bake bread. On day 16, I found a small village outpost next to my base, and one of the villagers there was a cleric, so that meant they would trade emeralds for redstone, which was absolutely wonderful for me because I was getting sick of the heat. But to combat the heat, I would need to get ice as well, which again wasn't a problem. There was a frozen biome right next to the village. Day 17, I was trying to continue building the base, but the heat was absolutely burning me alive, and I was getting fed up with it. But despite the heat, my stubbornness was able to prevail, and I was able to get nearly all of the upper floor done, save for the roof. After continuing to build the roof, I decided I didn't really like the design it was starting to shape up to have. So for a little while I just fiddled around with that, and then once I got fed up with dying from heat exhaustion, I decided to craft myself some armor and to go attempt to do that battle tower that we had stolen from previously. And yeah, it was just as chaotic as I remember. I had forgotten just how many mobs could spawn in one of these battle towers. By the time I had to return home for the night, I hadn't even gotten down through the first floor. Day 19 and I was back at the battle tower, or rather I was going to the battle tower. And on the way I decided to open a few of the Halloween treats I was getting. And then this happened as a result.
Oh, Jesus!
I don't know what to do about you. Other than run, honestly. Oh, can't even do that. Okay. Can't even use it. How much XP do I have in here? Like 5 levels? 6. Yeah, figures. Alright, looks like we're doing this the old-fashioned way. If the giant red dick demon doesn't kill you, hyperthermia will. Did everything. Now it is. Okay, run. Okay, that works. Ow. 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 Damn it. I got no armor from that. Oh, hey. Oh. Well, that was really anticlimactic. And after the big red asshole was defeated, I had just enough time to go and beat a level of the battle tower before having to head back home. Day 20 was again me trying to clear the battle tower, though this time I could actually use my summoning staff since I had gotten my magic level past 8, so that made things a little bit easier. Day 21 was the first time I was able to use a heart crystal. If for some reason you don't know what heart crystals are, if you haven't played Terraria, they essentially just give you an extra heart of health whenever you use them, and it acts as like a permanent buff to your health pool. After doing that, I finally went back to the cleric to buy that redstone. I needed the redstone for a cooling coil, which would mean I could stop jumping in water in my house to cool myself down. I have no idea why I put this off for so long. It was such a stupid thing to do. The next day was pretty much just a resource day. I had to get stone and I had to get wood to start building my upper floor again. But as the sun began to set on day 22, I was finally able to start making some progress on building my roof. Day 23 was again just me building my roof. Though with all the resources I had gathered, I was pretty much set to finish it. After that, I had gotten distracted again by the Halloween treats that were dropping, and got attacked by another giant treant as a result. After that, the last half of day 24 was just me trying to finish up a section of the roof. And finally, on day 25, we got the upper floor of our base finished. Was it the best looking base? No, not really, but it wasn't permanent. We wouldn't be staying here forever. And since the upstairs of my base was finished, I decided it was time to expand the farm. I eventually wanted to upgrade into a big greenhouse so I could grow things year-round, but a small little garden like this would be sufficient for now. Now that I had a proper garden, I decided I wanted to upgrade my kitchen as well. Or rather, I just wanted to upgrade the storage and accessibility to water and stuff like that. But while I was doing that, I got distracted and went to fence in my garden instead. On day 29, I discovered something. I discovered the Desert Myrmex. Specifically, I discovered that you could turn the chitin they drop into armor, an armor that is on near diamond levels of durability and protection. So now I had a proper objective, but that objective was gonna have to wait. I was getting sick of just surviving off of bread, especially since it didn't really fill me up all that much. So I wanted to get some cows so I could start making some recipes from the Harvest Craft mod. So I built them a small little pen, and then I went out looking for some. Now that I had a few cows in the cow pen, I was finally able to get experimenting with the Harvest Craft mod. mod. I wanted to try and make some burgers, but for that I needed raw beef, which would take a while, given the fact I had to breed the cows, and I needed toast, which needed butter. So that's what I got working on. Day 32 was more of the same. Checking out recipes, tending to the garden, you know, that whole shtick. But on the night of day 32, I enchanted my first weapon. And on day 33, I finally made my first few burgers. Now we were starting to eat like kings. On day 34, I decided I wanted to get some of this red cobblestone that was behind my base. I figured it would make a nice floor for my basement if I were to ever expand it. And I wanted to clear out a little area to put a nether portal, because I needed nether quartz for a season clock. So after I built the portal, I jumped in, and that was my first mistake. I just wanted some nether quartz. That's all I wanted, but I had to die like 6 times before I could even get it. But in the end, I did manage to get my nether quartz for the season clock. Now that I had the clock taken care of, it was time to start working on my desert Miramax armor, which meant I had to dive into the depths of their hive. Equipped with my new sword, I was feeling rather confident. But confidence isn't everything in RLcraft, and that is something that I had to learn rather quickly. You're lucky. Just kidding, you're not lucky. Uncomfy. Uncomfy. Backing up. Yeah, I know you hate me. Oh, Jesus! So after getting as much chitin as I could, before I had decided I died enough, I began working on my basement. I wanted to have 3 rooms for my basement off the main hub area. I wanted an armory, an enchanting room, and a brewing room. So I got started on the main hub. Day 37 was the day that I got a rotten egg, and after throwing it, I got a cockatrice out of it. I got my own personal guard dog for my base. His name is Fred, and I love him. The construction of the basement dwelling continues. I must make it be pleasing to the eye. And by day 40, the hub of the basement was completed. So now I could get started on building the other rooms. More stone and more wood is good. Weeds must be plucked before their roots can spread. Day 42 and the armory had been completed. I now had a place to store my weapons and armor. I wanted to go get more chitin to finish my suit of armor. All I needed was pants and boots. I also knew if I were to go in with just my sword, I would probably get my ass handed to me. So I decided to make a scepter, and this one threw giant balls of green flames just like the giant demons did. So by day 43, I was able to get enough chitin to make a full suit of armor. Next 2 days pretty much just consisted of me digging out the area for my enchanting room and gathering resources to build it. After that, I spent the next 2 days building the enchanting room until it was finally complete. For day 48, I pretty much just spent the time moving things to the enchanting room after it was finished. Bookshelves, enchanting table, that sort of deal. For days 49 and 50, I pretty much just spent the time in the battle tower trying to clear a few more levels of it. I did actually manage to get to the 2nd level and accidentally woke up the golem, but I don't have footage of it because OBS decided to stop recording again. Day 51 and the grind was back on. We started said grind by building ourselves a disenchanting table. The rest of day 51 and the following day were spent trying to clear the battle tower, and through some stroke of luck and a whole lot of stubbornness, and the slight abuse of magic staffs, I was finally able to kill the tower golem and take the final loot chest for myself. After returning to base with our spoils of war, I decided to craft myself a potion ring of resistance to give myself a permanent edge in battle. Then to complement the ring, I crafted myself a full suit of diamond armor. Even if I couldn't use it yet, it would still be valuable further down the line. I wanted to get some enchanting done, but for me to do that, I needed XP. So of course, what better way to get XP than to go into a dungeon in the middle of the night and spend it there, because that couldn't go wrong, right? After returning home, I had spent day 53 disenchanting the gear I had gotten from the dungeon. And by the time I was done disenchanting, I had actually gotten quite a surplus of enchanted books. I was getting sick of having to manually put in a stack of stone or red cobblestone whenever I wanted to smelt it. So around back my house, I constructed a automatic smelter out of furnaces, hoppers, and chests. It's a really simple design, but it works wonders. Day 54 was back to the dungeon crawl, and this time I didn't leave the dungeon with just enchanted gear and XP. I left with nether wart. I didn't even have to go to the nether nether to get it, which is such a blessing considering the nether is hell in RLCraft. And that pun was very much intended. Day 55 was more disenchanting since I had gotten more enchanted items from the dungeon, but now that I had nether wart, I also wanted to build a potion room, so I got started on digging that out. I spent the next 3 days building this room. I mean, it turned out great. I'm very happy with how it looks and it functions like a brewing room, but 3 days. I feel like I'm wasting a lot of time during this. Day 59 and I was finally brewing potions. To be specific, I was brewing potions of fire resistance and strength, because like I said at the beginning of this video, I wanted to kill a dragon before day 100 hit. That was one of my few direct goals that I had to achieve before I could finish this 100 days. And to do that, I needed armor. And that is where my Desert Myrmex or Myrmex armor comes in handy. So to prepare for fighting a dragon, I decided to enchant my armor. Day 60 was not a fun day. I just spent my time in the lower levels of the dungeon trying to get XP and getting my ass handed to me in the process. Day 61 was pretty much just a day for farming and checking out recipes. You think that would make the day just nice and calm, right? No, I decided to go exploring just before sunset, and I found a tier 3 dragon that was like a hop, skip, and jump away from my base. So yeah, that's a bit of an issue, and I wanted to fix that problem as fast as I could. But to do that, I kind of needed a diamond crossbow, which I couldn't even use, let alone enchant with my XP levels, so of course I found myself back in the dungeon, getting my ass handed to me for the next day and a half. After that fiasco, I took a small break, and for day 64 I just harvested resources, and then day 65 I did a little bit of decorating. And potion brewing, of course. And then on day 66 I was finally able to tame a rock. 66 days in and I finally could fly around. So of course I soulbound it just to make sure I couldn't lose it. Then for the rest of day 66 I pretty much just flew around exploring. I got distracted, okay? No, wait, actually I did do something productive on day 66. I found myself in a dungeon, a different one this time actually, which I lost everything in a pool of lava. Great. But day 67 was an amazing day. Not because of anything in RLCraft, but because day 67 was the day I reached 100 subscribers on this channel. So to celebrate as much as I could, I made a carrot cake and placed it down. Yeah, that's all I could really do for now. Thank you all so much for the support. It means a great deal to me to know that people are actually enjoying the content that I'm putting out. And if people keep enjoying it, I am going to be posting as long as I can. And on that notion, hey, if you've made it this far in the video, clearly that must mean you're enjoying it. So if you want to add to that subscriber pool, that would be a wonderful thing to do. That would make my day. Hey, you could even throw a like or a comment down. I don't care as long as you enjoy the video. That is literally all that matters to me. But I do appreciate you letting me know if you did enjoy it. Anyways, to pick up from where the footage you're seeing in the background is, day 70 to 71, as you saw, is pretty much just me dungeon crawling again. I'm trying to get XP. And on that notion of trying to get XP, I decided I had had enough of dying and losing everything in the dungeons. So for day 72, I just fished. And I think that got me like 6 levels. And you guessed it, day 73 was more fishing with a little bit of Myrmex hunting thrown in there just to shake things up. Day 74, I was bored of fishing, so I decided to open a few of the treats I had. As you can imagine, that was a rather hectic day. And day 75 was more treat opening because I didn't really have anything else to do. Day 76 was pretty much more the same as well. Just opening treats and getting resources. You know the deal. Day 77 was the day that I was finally going to attack the dragon. I had my enchanted Desert Myrmex armor, I had my crossbow, and I had my sword, and I had my potions. It was time to bring war to that dragon. Oh my god, I hit him from here? Oh, I'm so scared. Oh, roaring at me. Oh, big scary. I'm going to request that you place me down, please. Oh, damn. Okay. Get him, boys! Distract him while I get my shit. Where is my shit? There it is. Oh, you're getting close. Okay. Grab and go. Dive. Oh. You should not be hitting me, sir. there's my sword. Summoning staff. Summoning staff. No. What? Okay. Yeah, I know, you're Angie. Bolts. Should probably drink this. Oh my god. What? Oh, there we go. The dragon had been slain. Day 77, and we had finally killed a dragon. Albeit I had died 4 times doing it, but it was so worth it. Who would have thought that the 2 staffs together would work wonders? Life drain and fear, magnificent. After retrieving what little of my gear remained, I went back to the dragon and harvested it for its scales, bones, and heart, and then returned back home for the night. After I killed the dragon, days 78 and 79 were spent by me building an expansion onto the house. I wanted to build a kitchen. I was getting annoyed with having to have everything out in the main room and it looked hideous, so that's what I did. This process actually did take until day 80, but on day 80, the kitchen exterior was finally done and I could organize the interior. The rest of day 80, as well as the majority of day 81, were spent by me organizing the new kitchen and just organizing the base in general. Up until this point, the base had pretty much been in a state of disarray. Like, shit was thrown in pretty much every chest, nothing was really organized, and I was getting real tired of it. The remainder of day 81, as well as the majority of day 82, was spent by me opening the remaining Halloween treats I had. Halloween was over, so these things weren't spawning in anymore, but it did mean I could leech out just a little bit more loot from them. Day 83, there was a little bit of potion brewing, a little bit of exploring, found a weird underwater temple, and above the temple was a skyboat. But after I looted the temple, nighttime was beginning to fall, so no skyboat for me today. Day 84 was skyboat time. And while it looked like a regular old skyboat, just out from the outside, you know, nothing special, true treasures were held in the middle of the boat. Anvils and coal blocks galore. I didn't care about the loot crates in the bottom, I wanted the anvils, man. Do you have any idea how much iron that would save me? The next day I looted the other skyboat that I saw that was across the way. I had over a stack of anvils by the time I was done looting both boats. I was living it up, but unfortunately the glory of the anvils was cut short when I returned home. There was a blighted skeleton outside my base and it wouldn't let me sleep, so I did this sensible thing and tried to move my bed down to the basement, and then this happened. Yeah, my mic was muted when it happened, but I was beyond livid. The moment I break my bed, a skeleton decides to kill me through a wall, which meant I was in the middle of nowhere again, just like I was back on day 1. Day 85, and I got sent back into the wilderness with nothing. So I either had to set up shop somewhere else again until I could get back to base, or just keep going until I could find home. And ultimately, I just decided to keep going until I could find home. It took 3 days for me to find anything that looked familiar, but I eventually found the same canyon I had gone through back in the first 50 days to get to my base location. Roughly around day 88, I had somehow managed to find my way back to base. And miraculously, all my stuff was there. I would have thought it had despawned by now, but apparently if it's out of render distance, it doesn't despawn. I had all my anvils still. The day after I got home, I spent actively using my kitchen, learning new recipes, making new food, because I wanted to have some downtime before day 90, because I had some big plans for it. Day 90, and I was burning down a campsite. Why was I burning down a campsite? Because I wanted to build a village there. With Minecraft Comes Alive being installed, I have a lot more use for villagers. I I can interact with them, I can make them have babies, I can marry a villager eventually and have a family of my own. And for that, I wanted a village, but I didn't want it too far away from my base that it would take ages to get there to build. Day 90 pretty much just consisted of me burning down the campsite to make way for a village. Day 91 was the start of the storehouse for the village. This was the first building I wanted to have up before I built anything else, simply for the fact that it would be used to store all my building materials in the future. The process of building this specific building took all the way until day 100. I'm not even joking. That is when I finished building it. As for the rest of the village, if you want to see that, you're gonna have to wait for another 100 days. But until then, this story is to be continued.